The box sat in the center of the dining table, silver wrapping, red velvet bow, my name printed in embossed gold. I turned 67 last week. Today was our 40th wedding anniversary. And for the first time in years, my husband Clifford wasn't with me on the morning of it. Said he had an urgent meeting at the office. Left before sunrise. Didn't even kiss my cheek goodbye. That's when my daughter came over, Meline, 27, our only child. She helped me bake lemon cake, set up the dishes, and even place my favorite flowers, white peonies, into a crystal vase. Then she saw the box. "Don't open it," she said quietly, barely above a whisper. Her face went pale. I paused. "What?" "It's from your father." She swallowed hard. "Just wait. Please. Don't open it yet." I laughed softly, confused. "Why not?" Her hand trembled slightly as she smoothed down the tablecloth. "Because you would regret it." I should have listened, but I didn't. I pulled the ribbon free and lifted the lid. Inside, nestled in soft white tissue paper, was a stack of wedding invitations, elegant cream cardstock trimmed in gold. My eyes scanned the top one. Then my knees gave way. "Mr. Clifford Randolph and Ms. Brielle Stone request the honor of your presence at their wedding ceremony. Wedding date, October 7th. Location, Savannah, Georgia." I looked up. Meline was already crying. "I didn't know how to tell you," she said. "I saw it last night. In his email. He meant to send them to the printer, but he copied me by mistake." My hands trembled. "Who is Brielle Stone?" She swallowed again. "She's not someone new, Mom. She's someone from his office. He's been seeing her for 2 years. 2 years. 2 years." That's how long Clifford had been coming home late, claiming he was mentoring younger associates. That's how long he'd been saying I was too fragile to travel with him on conferences. 2 years of excuses, distractions, cold silences, and strange overcompensations. Meline pulled something else from her purse, her phone. "I took screenshots," she said. "His calendar. His emails. The venue bookings. He's planning to marry her in October. You and I? We weren't even invited." I sat in the same dining chair where I'd cut Clifford's birthday cake last year. Same place I hosted Thanksgiving for his firm's partners. Same place he once knelt and slipped a sapphire ring onto my finger, 39 years ago. But now, my hand trembled as I held a wedding invitation not for me, but for the woman he intended to replace me with. "Mom, say something," Meline whispered, placing a hand on my shoulder. I looked up at her. "Where did you say you saw this? In his email?" She nodded. "He forwarded the order to the stationer, but he copied my work email by mistake." I opened it thinking it was a design client. When I saw the subject line, "Final Wedding Proofs," I clicked on it. I closed the lid of the box slowly, deliberately. "And you've known since last night?" I asked. "I've barely slept," she said. I didn't want to believe it. I even told myself it might be for a client. But then I saw the venue contract. It was under Dad's name. And hers. Brielle Stone. Meline gave a bitter laugh. "You remember the gala? The young woman in the emerald dress who spilled wine on your shoes." I blinked. "That intern. She's not an intern anymore. She's the new associate partner. And Dad's, well, you read the invitation." I stood up and walked to the window. The garden outside was in bloom. Roses, hydrangeas, marigolds. I'd planted every flower in that bed. Clifford always said he had a black thumb. "You're the one who brings beauty to this place," he used to say. Apparently, Brielle brought something else. It started subtle. It always does. 2 years ago, Clifford began traveling more. Mentorship conferences, he'd say. Up-and-coming lawyers need guidance. I believed him. Why wouldn't I? He was always well-respected, gentle, patient, faithful, or so I thought. But the signs were there. The cologne he never used before. The secretive texting. The sudden gym membership. Then came the "you're not coming to the firm gala this year" tone. The polite but dismissive wave when I mentioned our anniversary plans. A gentle suggestion. "Maybe this year, let's keep things simple." I had thought we were just aging differently. I thought maybe I was becoming invisible. Meline cleared her throat. I confronted him last week. I turned slowly. You what? I had to, Mom. I couldn't keep smiling at him and pretending I didn't know. I asked him if he was seeing someone. He didn't deny it. What did he say? Her eyes filled again. He said, I didn't want you to find out this way, Mads. I was going to talk to your mom soon. I was waiting for the right time. The right time? The right time to mail me wedding invitations. He said he didn't know the stationer had already sent them out. That it was a mistake. That Brielle had pressed the timeline forward. Did he say anything about me? Meline hesitated. Tell me, I insisted. He said you were comfortable, that you'd be fine, that you have your art, your garden, your routines, that you didn't need him anymore. I sank back into the chair. He said I didn't need him? She nodded, as if love was about needing. That afternoon, as I sat staring at a wall filled with framed memories, wedding photos, a trip to Rome, Madeline's kindergarten picture, my phone rang. Clifford. I answered with silence. Eliza, he said gently. You got the gift, I presume? I got it. And his tone was oddly upbeat. Do you like the wrapping? I saw the invitations, Clifford. Dead silence. I didn't mean for that to happen, he said finally. You weren't supposed to open it until after dinner. I was going to talk to you first. Talk to me? I laughed softly. What were you going to say? Happy anniversary, darling. Also, I'm marrying someone else in October. Please enjoy the lemon cake. You're being dramatic. Dramatic? Clifford, you sent your wife of 40 years, on your wedding anniversary, a gift box containing wedding invitations addressed to another woman. She's not just another woman, he said. Don't you dare say she's special. More silence. Eliza, I never planned it like this. Was this your idea of a soft landing? I snapped. Give me an invitation a little time, and hope I'd just fade into the background like a retired portrait? You're not being fair. No, Clifford. You weren't fair. When you slept with someone young enough to be your daughter. When you let me plan your retirement party, while you planned your next vows. Eliza, please. Let's discuss this like adults. I hung up. The estate, the deed, and a signature I'd regret. Later that night, I went upstairs to the study. Clifford and I had built this house 25 years ago. We each had our own office. His was always neater than mine. But I remembered something. The paperwork he'd asked me to sign last spring, documents he'd said were estate-related for tax purposes. I'd signed them without reading closely. Why wouldn't I trust him? Now I dug them out from the locked drawer. It wasn't just estate planning. It was a property transfer, partial title reassignment, beneficiary changes, financial redirections under his sole name. He'd slowly been removing me from everything. The house was no longer jointly owned. The accounts had been restructured. My name was on fewer documents than it should have been after 4 decades of marriage. I opened his email on the family computer, same password he's had for years. There it was. The full guest list. My name, absent. Madeline's present. With a note next to it. Ask again later. Might be too complicated. Brielle's parents, friends, cousins? All confirmed. There was even a note to the caterer. Please prepare a low-sugar lemon cake for one of the guests, M's mother. She's not attending, but I'd like to send her a slice after the event. A slice. He was planning to mail me a piece of the wedding cake, of his new wedding. I closed the laptop. I poured myself a glass of Merlot. Then I picked up the phone and said the one thing I never thought I'd say. Meline, I need a lawyer. And not just any lawyer. I need someone ruthless. The next morning, I sat across from a woman with silver hair clipped into a razor-straight bob and eyes like cut glass. Her name was Judith Klene, a retired divorce attorney who now consulted quietly. She didn't offer me tissues. She didn't pat my hand. She listened, took notes. Then she said bluntly, "You want war, but not in the courtroom." I nodded. I want his peace shattered. Quietly. Her eyes gleamed. Good. Court is noisy, expensive, and frankly, too slow. But there are other ways to make a man beg. Judith opened a folder thick with possibilities. Let's start with what he's already done, she said. The title transfer was disguised under estate restructuring. Fraud, technically, but proving it would take years. And the accounts? I asked. Moved offshore? Reclassified as business reserves? Common tactic. That's why you won't attack his money. You'll attack what his money protects: his reputation, his control, and his future marriage. She pulled out 3 bullet points. The foundation fraud. Did you know your husband is chairman of a mentorship fund for disadvantaged young lawyers? Yes, he brags about it every gala. She smiled. Turns out Brielle received a travel grant from that fund, signed off by her husband the same week they took their mentorship trip to London. The optics. She made a slicing motion with her hand. Disastrous. The engagement leak. You didn't release those wedding invitations, Eliza. But if someone were to anonymously forward them to the Ledger, the same lifestyle magazine that once interviewed you and Clifford as couples who made it last. I blinked. They'd have a field day. The video clip. Security footage. I had someone check. The building where Clifford's firm rents space has hallway surveillance. There's footage of him and Brielle kissing in front of a stairwell at 2:14 a.m. during a supposed weekend business retreat. You got that? I know a guy. Clifford doesn't care about jail, Judith said. He cares about reputation. His firm is already shaky after that merger fell through. His name in gossip logs? With time-stamped emails and footage? That's what will scare him. But we're not using it. She closed the folder. Not in court. You'll present it in private. Calmly. With options. Clifford will settle quietly if the alternative is public embarrassment. But you have to look like you could destroy him. And if he still refuses? She smiled faintly. Then we up the stakes. That night, I poured 2 glasses of white wine. Meline was flipping through TV channels. I handed her a glass and asked, "Have you spoken to your father?" She didn't hesitate. Yes. I tensed. And she shrugged. He explained things. How the marriage had faded. How you were stuck in your patterns. I stared at her. And you believed that? I mean, she sipped, I see both sides, Mom. You and Dad, you've been roommates more than spouses for years. I flinched. So you're taking his side now? She raised her eyebrows. I'm not taking sides. I'm trying to understand both of you. I stood abruptly. Don't lie to me, Meline. She blinked, caught off guard. I'm not. You're siding with him because he bought you off with honesty and charm. You think this girl, this woman, is a better fit for him? No, she snapped. Then, more gently, I'm just saying he's still my dad. I felt tears rise, hot and fast. I gave him everything. I gave you everything. She put down her glass. I know, but her voice was unreadable. Too calm, too neutral. I left her in the living room and went upstairs, feeling more alone than I had when Clifford walked out. Later that week, I overheard Meline on the phone. No, Dad. She's angry. Really angry. I don't know. Maybe you should just offer her the guest house, something to cool her down. Yes, I'll keep talking to her. I'll get a read. She's unpredictable right now. She hung up. When I confronted her, she simply said, I'm trying to keep the peace. I said nothing. But I went back to Judith and told her, I think my daughter's turning on me. Judith looked unfazed. Then use that too. Make her the go-between. Let her make him comfortable. The more access she has, the more careless he'll get. Just don't show your cards. Not yet. Even if she betrays me? She handed me a new file labeled Plan B Media. Eliza, whether she's with you or not, we prepare. And when Clifford sees the folder, when you lay it all out on the table with a smile, he'll settle. He'll beg to. Clifford invited Meline to dinner the following Thursday. I didn't ask what they talked about. But 2 days later, he called me. Eliza, can we meet? About what? I'd like to discuss an arrangement. No lawyers. I glanced at the folder Judith had handed me, the one labeled engagement blackmail materials, and then at the wine glass I hadn't touched. I smiled. Sure, Clifford. Let's talk. We met at a discreet French cafe on Eastbourne Avenue. Clifford's choice, of course. He said it would be civilized. I said nothing. I arrived 5 minutes early, wearing pearl studs and my charcoal gray wrap dress, the one he once said made me look like a judge. Appropriate, I thought. He arrived late.
Typical.
Hello, Eliza, he said, taking off his sunglasses and slipping into the booth across from me. Clifford. He smiled, but I noticed the tightness in his eyes. The wedding invitations had been retracted, delayed due to logistics, the printer's email claimed. But we both knew what had really happened. We ordered drinks. Sparkling water for him. Chardonnay for me. No one spoke until the drinks arrived. I'm glad you came, Clifford began. There's no need to drag this out, don't you think? Drag what out? This situation. You're angry. I understand. But we've been over for a long time, Eliza. This was just the inevitable. Inevitable, I repeated, rolling the word across my tongue like a spoiled grape. You and we've lived separate lives for years now. We've grown apart. Is that what you call lying, Clifford? Growing apart. His jaw tightened, but he remained calm. I don't want to argue, he said. I came with a proposal. He slid a crisp envelope across the table. Inside was a typed agreement and signed, unheaded. An informal offer. $75,000 in a lump sum. Access to the guest house, rent-free, for 5 years. Continued use of my current car. A gentle, no-fault public announcement of our amicable separation. I read it twice. Then I set the envelope aside without comment. You think you're being generous, I said. I am being generous. You don't want this to go public. No one wins when things get messy. That was his subtle threat. But I came prepared with something better. I placed Judith's folder on the table between us. Black leather, slim, elegant. His eyebrows rose. What's that? I sipped my wine. Documentation. Eliza. Emails. Financial logs. A timeline of your relationship with Brielle that includes the exact dates when you signed off her travel stipend from the foundation you chair. He paled. Oh, and building security footage. Very romantic, actually, 2:14 a.m., February 3rd. You didn't even look around before you kissed her. Bad form for a man with a reputation to protect. You wouldn't, he said. Wouldn't I? His hand hovered over the folder. I haven't released anything.
Yet.
But I will if you don't take this meeting seriously. He picked up his glass but didn't drink. What do you want? He asked quietly. I want the following, I said calmly. A lump sum of $250,000. A full property buyout, meaning you refinance the house and pay me my half in cash. A monthly stipend of $3,000 for 3 years. And a written statement that you, Clifford Randolph, acted inappropriately during our marriage and accept full responsibility for the breakdown. His eyes bulged. Eliza, you're out of your mind. No, Clifford. I'm out of patience. I don't have that kind of liquid cash. I leaned in. Then Brielle's ring will have to wait. Or perhaps she'll enjoy being married to a man under investigative press. I wonder how the ledger would phrase it. Elder law partner funds affair using non-profit monies. He looked around the restaurant. Lower your voice. No one's listening, I said. Yet. He let out a long breath. I thought Meline was talking to you. Calming you down. I tilted my head. She's been very diplomatic.
He softened.
She understands. She sees that this wasn't about betrayal, it was about evolution. You and we served our time. Now she sees the next chapter. I gave a noncommittal smile. She's a good daughter. She's always been sharp, he said, chuckling lightly. You know, she told me not to send the invitations yet. Said you might explode. She was right. He finished his water and leaned back. I'll need time to gather the funds. You have 1 week. That's impossible. I know your accounts, Clifford. Judith did the math. You've got options. Liquidate the lake house. Sell the condo in Charleston. Borrow against your firm shares. Damn it, Eliza. I smiled. Language, dear. We're in public. He stood to leave, folder tucked under his arm like it burned. Eliza, he said finally, his voice cracking, do you really hate me this much? No, I said, rising. I just don't respect you anymore. That night, Meline walked in holding takeout and pretending everything was normal. How was the meeting? She asked. Productive, I said. She nodded, unpacking food. Dad texted me. Said you came with a folder like some mafia boss. Did he sound scared? A little. Good. She passed me a carton of lo mein. Then, casually, by the way, did you ever find that old guest list from your 40th anniversary party? The one Dad didn't show up to? Why? I just wanted to compare names. You know, for patterns. Patterns. I studied her face, searching for signs. But Meline stayed neutral, peaceful even. Just a daughter, caught between two parents. Or so I thought. 3 days after Clifford and I met at the cafe, the wire transfer came through. $250,000. Not a word of apology attached. No note. Just raw currency for silence. Judith called it progress. Still no press, she said. You're a better person than I would have been. I'm not doing this to protect him, I replied. I'm doing it to control the ending. We agreed to keep our eyes on Brielle. She's next, Judith had said. That kind of woman doesn't survive without a man paying her rent. She wasn't wrong. It started with whispers. The bridal boutique canceled her custom fitting. Apparently, a confidential donor revoked a deposit. Then came the firm's gala. Clifford brought Brielle, of course. She wore a backless midnight blue gown, trying too hard. I saw the photos on a partner's wife's Facebook post. But the attention wasn't what she expected. Someone had slipped the board an anonymous packet, a thin manila envelope containing screenshots of emails and the foundation records Judith found. The partners asked Clifford to take a leave of absence. His name disappeared from the firm's website by Monday. I used my settlement wisely. I didn't buy a house. I leased a historic loft downtown. Brick walls. Skylights. No memories. I opened a quiet studio, teaching watercolor techniques to women over 50. We met every Thursday. We talked. We healed. We painted rage in shades of violet and green. I never spoke of Clifford. I didn't need to. My art told that story now. One night he called. Not to apologize, of course not, but to discuss a potential adjustment. Eliza, about the monthly stipend, he said cautiously. Things are shifting. I may need to reduce it. Temporarily. I laughed. You laid off the wrong mistress, Clifford? I'm serious. Things are tight. The firm. You mean the firm that you were asked to leave? A long pause. You leaked that stuff, didn't you? I never leaked anything, I said truthfully. Then, twisting the knife, I added, perhaps someone else close to you did. Who? I don't know, Clifford. Maybe you should ask Brielle. 2 weeks later, on a rainy Tuesday morning, someone knocked on my studio door. I opened it to find her, Brielle Stone. No umbrella. Mascara smudged. Drenched, but still wearing high heels like she couldn't let go of the image. I need to talk to you, she said. I'm busy, I replied, wiping my hands on a paint-stained apron. She stepped in anyway. Clifford won't talk to me, she said. He's been distant. Since you blackmailed him. Is that what he calls it? She narrowed her eyes. You ruined him. I tilted my head. Oh no, dear. Clifford ruined himself. I just offered him a way to contain it. She glanced at the canvases on the wall. One showed a dark figure slipping into water, only the tip of a wedding veil floating above the surface. You think you're strong, she said. I don't think. I know. Brielle swallowed. I didn't know he was still married when we started. Of course you did, I said flatly. You just didn't care. She flinched. I came to say I'm sorry. I folded my arms. And to ask if you'd be willing to talk to him. Calm him down. He's spiraling. I smiled. Let him spiral. Sometimes, falling apart is how liars get rebuilt. That night, I found Meline in my kitchen, stirring tea like she lived there. She practically did these days. I saw Dad, she said, sipping slowly. I nodded. I figured. He's unraveling. Good.
She paused.
Mom, do you ever think maybe you've done enough? I stared at her. What are you really asking? I mean, the house is sold. The money's in your account. He's been humiliated. Brielle's miserable. And she hesitated. I think he's scared of you now. Then he finally understands who he married. Meline looked at me with strange eyes. Gentle.
Detached.
Measured.
She spoke softly.
You're not like before. I can't afford to be. Then she said the words that twisted my stomach. He told me he misses who you used to be. I nearly slapped the mug from her hand. Are you still trying to understand him, Meline? Or are you trying to be on his side?
She didn't respond.
She didn't need to. She just reached into her purse and handed me something. A USB drive. What is this? I found it in Dad's drawer, hidden inside an old cufflink box. What's on it? Emails. Audio recordings. Conversations between him and the senior partner. How they plan to push through a shady merger. Might be illegal. Or just unethical enough to finish him off. I blinked. And you're just now telling me this? She smiled faintly. He thinks I'm on his side, remember? Then she stood, kissed my cheek, and whispered, next time, trust your daughter's instincts. The USB drive sat untouched for an hour. I made tea, cleaned the windows, watered my plants, anything but look at it. When I finally plugged it in, I wore gloves. Not for protection. Out of respect. This was war. And war demanded ritual. There were 48 audio files. The first one opened with Clifford's voice, smooth and smug. We'll push the merger through after Eliza signs the estate docs. Once the accounts shift, I'll file no fault. I've got Brielle positioned in the firm by then. We'll rebrand as a power couple before year-end. Then came a voice I recognized, his senior partner, Philip Drexler. And your daughter? Will she pose a problem? Meline?
Please.
She's loyal.
She worships me.
She'll just think her mom had another one of her emotional episodes. I paused the file, then played it again, then sat in silence, feeling a stillness so deep I thought the world had gone mute. Judith leaned back in her chair after listening to the evidence. Well, she said, swirling her coffee. That's poetic. What do we do with it? She tapped a pen against her notepad. We don't release it. We present it. Quietly. Like a scalpel to the throat. He won't go to jail? Doubtful. But he'll lose any chance of ever being respected again in the legal world. He'll never teach law. Never consult. The partners will distance. Brielle will crumble. He'll become toxic. And if I threaten to leak it? Judith smiled. He'll fold like paper in a thunderstorm. We met at his condo, his new place with Brielle. Cold. Sterile. Pretending to be home. I brought no folder this time. Just a thumb drive and a look he hadn't seen since our daughter was born. I want one last thing, I said. Clifford poured whiskey. We've already settled. No, I said. You paid me. That's not the same. He raised an eyebrow. What now? I held up the drive. I want your firm shares. He laughed. You don't even understand what that means. I do now. He stopped laughing. Where did you get that? He asked. I'm not the one you should be asking. He blinked. What? Ask your daughter. His glass slipped from his hand and shattered on the hardwood floor. She was never on your side, I said softly. She just let you believe that, while you opened every drawer in your house and every thought in your head. He sat down. Hard. I don't believe you. She gave me your emails, your voice, your dirty little timeline. She wouldn't. She did. Because you underestimated her. Like you underestimated me. He stared blankly. She was supposed to be mine. She was ours, Clifford. And you forgot that. I'll sign the shares, he says. You win. I'm not trying to win, I reply. I'm trying to end it. Will you tell her, he asks, that you're a fraud? No. That she played me? I pause. No, Clifford. That's your punishment. knowing it wasn't me who brought you down. He stared at the window. I thought she was like me. She was always like me. You just couldn't see it. Meline met me for breakfast the next morning. Café on 12th, same place I took her after her first heartbreak in college. I poured sugar into my tea. She stirred hers in silence.
You don't have to say it, I said.
She looked up. Say what? That you were never on his side. She smiled faintly. You needed to believe I was, though.
Why?
Because you fight harder when you're angry. You always did. I took her hand. And what now? She leaned back. Now? You move on. I go back to my life. And Dad rots quietly, I said. She didn't smile, but her eyes sparkled. Like mine.